All right, Rob. The Suns are officially out of the NBA playoffs, which many people, we've talked about it earlier in the season when they were struggling, and then the Kevin Durant, remember they were trying to trade him. Yeah, struggling, and they were trying to trade him. It was all types of stuff going on. And so the conversation becomes, Rob, are the Phoenix Suns the most disappointing team in the NBA this season? Maybe even disappointing storyline for you. You didn't think, many people didn't think you had these three guys that you'd be in this position, and not to mention the chaos that came with it. Like I said, all the trade rumors and KD and disgruntled. So I'll let you start. What do you think, man? The Phoenix Suns, most disappointing as we wind down this NBA season, most disappointing story and disappointing team for you?
I'm not really that disappointed, to be honest. I didn't think it was going to work. Top heavy, didn't have a bench. The Bradley Beal disaster was always a disaster. And I've said on this program, Kevin Durant's NBA dead. Like I'm not. I'm really not surprised. What I'm surprised about is just how badly they've lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they can run off the court every night. That's the shocking part on how bad it is. But did I really think that they were going somewhere? The only place I thought they were going was home dinner, maybe a show. But I didn't think they were going to the NBA Finals or anything.
Right.
Oh, they had their big three. I remember when they traded KD there. Oh, people were like, oh, they're automatic contenders. Remember that? Because they had gone to the NBA Finals without him. So they thought KD, my God, he got injured on a non-contact injury. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And things just haven't been the same. The Bradley Beal thing, you want to talk about swinging and missing on Deshaun Watson? They swung and missed on Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
And so bad that even when they were trying to make an adjustment, he wouldn't allow them to do that with that no trade. Can you imagine having that guy still in your locker room, on your team? You know that you don't want him there and you were trying to get rid of him. And he's saying, no, I ain't going nowhere. Pay me my money and I'm not going nowhere. And I'm just going to keep showing up until the checks stop coming. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like what a bad situation that was.
It's to your point, it's funny. Like, he just coming in the locker room, what's up, y'all? Hey, what's everybody good? Putting on the shoes, looking like, man, you holding up a trade. We could have had this player if you wasn't here. You could just, man, if you don't get out of here, that has to be weird, right? You know where you're not wanted.
I think that's weird. That's very weird.
Yeah, you know you're not wanted there, yet you're like, you're going to stand firm. And it wasn't like, let's say he was on, who's a great team? Let's say he was with the Cavs. You're like, I ain't leaving here to go play with, some terrible, the Hawks or Utah or something. Like, we got a chance to win something. I can understand that. Dude, you guys were struggling. That might even be kind. You were underachieving, and it's like, dude, they don't want you. So that's what I made it. I mean, I don't know if he got some family in Phoenix. I don't know what made Bradley Beal want to stick around. But, yeah, I didn't like this last year. You got three of the same guys. What are they best at? Shooting with the ball in their hands. Bradley Beal never elevated a team on his own in Washington, and I'm not saying they were loaded, and you can't do it all by yourself, but you never felt like, man, they're so good because Bradley Beal's there. Peak Kevin Durant, yes, you can feel like that. And Devin Booker is a really, really quality player, really good player. But the idea of having three guys who have to shoot, Devin Booker can't go out and get you 10 points, 12, 15 assists, 8 rebounds. You feel like, oh, he was out there today doing his thing. Bradley Beal doesn't go out there and get you 20 rebounds and, or a lockdown defender. They can't pivot. They're not Chris Bosh where I'm used to getting you 25 and 10 and 12, Well, I'll just lock down, give you 18, 15 rebounds and block some shots. They can't pivot like that. And so that's, to me, why I was like, wait, this is a terrible mismatch. And I don't even know how they think, matchup, this isn't going to work. This is not a well-comprised team. Then they got rid of, as you mentioned, all their depth. And so now I'm like, it's just absolutely not a great team when you're talking about putting together a squad. So to me, if I'm talking about a team that's disappointing, I got a couple other ones that I'm a little disappointed in. One, it's not that I had expectations once they were paired. I'm just disappointed that you paired them. And that, to me, is Joel Embiid and PG-13. What in the world were the 76ers thinking?
Well, I agree with that, but you got to admit, I don't know how you could really put that. He was hurt, Joel Embiid.
So why, Rob? Yes, but why go get PG-13, who's equally always hurt? Make it, Rob. I just like things to make sense, and then I can say, hey, things happen, right? Things can happen, but it has to make sense from the start.
Yeah, but the idea that you're never going to take a chance on anybody who was ever hurt.
No. Ever hurt and perennially hurt are different things, Rob.
Okay,
Come on now.
But then I would say to you, well, how did Bradley Beal get traded when he had an albatross of a contract in Washington? Nobody wanted him, and they still were. Washington was able to move him. Is my point, is that guys you would think nobody would want or whatever would do wind up getting moved. I'm with you.
I'm not mad at PG-13.
I said the Clippers were the smartest team because they were like, no, we're not giving him $200-something million. They picked Kawhi, who was hurt at the time,
right,
over a guy who wasn't hurt.
Because when they're both healthy, Kawhi is the better player without a doubt. We all know.
But a lot of people question that. Oh, Kawhi's hurt. You can't count on him. And look where they are now. I don't know what's going to happen in the playoffs because Kawhi going to get hurt. You know what I mean?
Right. We don't know, but he's the better.
But he's the better player. I would have made the same move. I would not have given Paul George $200 million.
And he has a championship resume, literally, Kawhi, right? So you know
got two.
Yes, exactly. So my point is, going back to the Sixers, I'm not mad at them. Let's say you're taking a flyer on PG-13 because, hey, he's just there. They want to get rid of him. You know what? And you say you're pairing him with a Ant Edwards. You're pairing him with the Jokic. Hey, man, look, you know what? Jamal Murray's hurt a lot, too. You know, if we can just get PG 65% of the games, we'd be – you paired him with Embiid, who was already hurt, who had surgeries, who we didn't know when he was going to come back, and if he came back, how he was going to be able to perform. So that's my only issue, Rob. It's not that you got PG. It's that you're pairing him with that. So that makes none of the sense for me. So that, to me, was just so disappointing. As a team that has just – you had potential hope 3 years ago, 4 years ago, give or take, and then you just went down the drain and you kept making blunderous moves, and this being another one. And then what happened? You never had Maxey and George and Embiid playing, and then they did. They only played a couple of games in a few minutes or something, and when they did, they weren't great. So that's one for me. And then lastly, I'll say this one. Another team that's disappointing for me, and it's not as if they suck or they're terrible. They're in the postseason. They're in the 5th seed. But for me, there's no way when you have the best player in the conference, you should be 18 games back from first. And yes, Cleveland is having a historic season. But dang it, Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks, I can't have my best player in the conference being 18 games back. That's crazy because I thought I would get more from them. I thought I would have them being a true contender to Boston, right? Or in this case, Cleveland. Well, we're looking at them legitimately like, whoo, I'm telling you, Giannis is on fire. He's dominating. He's an MVP candidate. Dame's got a swag back there right there. Instead, they play good for 2 or 3, then they're bad for 2 or 3. Then they play good for 3 or 4, then they're bad for 3 or 4. And to me, Giannis should be dominating the headlines as well. Giannis should be a guy who is the face of the league. Giannis's team should be competing with the Celtics, and we should be scratching our head. It's a pick 'em. I don't know. And instead, we never talk about them. They're never really any concern. We had guests after guests, you and I, on the show, and no one ever talks about the Bucks. In fact, the only person who does is me, because I bring them up like, what the heck happened to the Bucks? So to me, that's a more disappointing team, because if I have the best player, one of the best players in the league, in his prime, with Dame, who might be just out of his prime, but still giving you 24 a night, they're supposed to be better than that. We're supposed to be talking about him more. I'm disappointed in them.
Yeah, I don't know. My expectations for the Bucks, I hear you with the 18.5 and all that, but I don't. What were your real expectations that they were going to do what? Seriously, what
I'm saying, but it's more disappointment that if I have Giannis in his absolute peak prime, that I'm just not even a contender, right? If I have Kobe in his prime, Shaq. Yeah,
but they went out and got Damian Lillard.
So they got to make that work.
But he's hurt, though. He's hurt.
They got to make that work,
Not hurt,
Rob.
but you know what I mean. Right. He's sidelined.
They just got to make that.
But I don't know. How do you make it work when the guy you went out to get is sidelined with an ailment? Is what I'm trying to say. I understand where you're.
But you get what I'm saying. This was before, obviously, the blood clots. But I'm saying before that, this is now 2 years where we're like, the Bucks, right? And before the blood clots, I just expected more from last year. We all went, ooh, that was weird. They didn't look good together. All right, maybe they just need some time. Remember, there were rumors that the offense, it wasn't grooving, and even
they didn't look good together in the
exactly.
beginning.
I'm like, that's really weird because Dame had been clamoring. I've never played with a guy this good or even better than me. Finally got it. It didn't work. And Giannis had become hard on the Bucks and starting to threat about I might leave and got rid of Adrian Griffin and you know what I mean? Like, this is getting a little weird. Doesn't work out last year. You say, they just needed time to gel. This year wasn't that great. They started off not good this year. And then obviously, again, Dame's out with the injury. Wish him well. But I'm just saying, I just thought now a year and a half of this pairing and peak Giannis, I would be seeing more is what I thought.
Yeah, I think it's incomplete because of the ailment to Damian Lillard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can understand that. It's fair. I just thought that I would be getting more from a Giannis in his peak. I wouldn't think it would be barely at 43 wins or whatever it is for the season.
Yeah, but you got to have that. Chris Middleton's no longer there. You know what I mean? And Chris Middleton was a big part of that Bucks team when they won the championship that year. Let's not bury the lead or act like they're not missing a big part of that. As good as Giannis is, right? Chris Middleton, who was a second-round draft pick by the Pistons. I remember when he came to Detroit.
I know, which they have. By the way, they have a nice list of people they let go or that ended up being really good.
He was one of them. So I don't know. And then you're looking at, obviously, Boston defending champs, and then Cleveland turned it up a notch. Cleveland became a killer like that. Knicks are better, you know what I mean, after coming off last year. So when I look at the Bucks, yes, 18.5.
But I'm saying go ahead.
18.5, but I don't know how much better he could be given his supporting cast.
50. So Dame played 58 games. That's a lot. It's not like he only played 20. You go, like, man, we didn't have him for 62 games. He played 58 games, and they were still just nah. And me and you would talk about I don't know, we'd have guests on, and what the heck is up with the Bucks? You just thought if I had Dame and Giannis for a season and a half, almost 2 seasons, I just thought they would be making way more noise, and we don't even talk about them. They're not even on anyone's radar. And, heading into the postseason, the fact that the best player in the conference in his absolute peak prime, looking like Adonis, putting up 30, second in the league in scoring, I just thought there'd be more of a force. That's just me.